For this hackathon, I set about trying to create a REPL for Webdriver and our test framework we call Taco. Currently, Webdriver doesn't make it easy to rerun tests when files change. And even if it did, restarting the browser and setting up new mock data make the cycle time painfully slow. One of the things I loved about working in Clojure was my REPL and the ability to modify my local environment. Node has a REPL, and the Babel CLI even allows you to write ES6 code in the REPL. But without the test setup, it's not very useful. So what I created is a module that allows you to start a REPL server anywhere within your test and access the local environment at that location. So let's see how we can use this to debug an existing test. This sidebar workspaces menu test is failing, and we would like to find out why. Normally, what I would do is sprinkle await debug throughout my tests to inspect the state of the browser and determine where it fails. Once I've found the problem, I need to rerun the test from the beginning. This can be rather time-consuming. Now, instead of using debug, I'm going to import REPL and paste this line of code where I want to interact with the test. For the REPL to access local variables, eval must be called from local scope. If you do not need access to local scope, then you can omit the callback and the code will be evaluated in the global environment. With this code in place, let's run our test with the debug flag. The debug flag increases the timeout values so that the test runner does not kill the process while we are debugging. It can take a little while for everything to start, so we're going to skip ahead until the REPL is ready. Now we see that the REPL is listening. We can return to our code and select a line or expression of interest. To run the line, press Alt-Shift-Enter. We see that an element could not be located on the page using the given search parameters. Interesting. Let's take a look at the browser. We see that our workspaces menu is not actually visible, so we want to be able to do that. So let's go back to our test, and we'll notice that I've commented this out, and this is the reason for the test that is breaking. So instead of restarting this whole thing, we're just going to run this line of code. Alt-Shift-Enter. Okay, if we switch back to the browser, we see that it has changed, or it has enabled the workspaces option. We can now go back to this line of code. If we run it, we'll see that it prints out workspace 1. We can then continue the test step by step to see that it is now changed to workspace 2. And now if we rerun this statement, we'll see that that says workspace 2. You'll notice that we have access to the local variables within this test. And this is because we're evaluating the code right here within the test. So anything above that, above your require statement or your REPL statement is available to the REPL. This should make debugging and writing tests much easier.